Well, hello and welcome to day 2 of the Boss Babe Summit. It is the second edition. Ikamango Miss Becky, and I am your facilitator, hosted by Dr. Roo, as she is fondly known. Now, Dr. Roo began this great phenomena about a year ago, exactly a year ago, actually, and we are so happy to be part of this. And I think it's safe to say it's an annual event. I mean, second time round again, what more, stamp would you need to say, nope, this will be an annual event? Yesterday, we had speakers that really rocked our chairs. Remember, I told you it's not the platform where we say sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself. No, no enjoying here. It's a bumpy ride, it's a bumpy seat. Like, literally, take that seatbelt and clasp it several times to make sure that it is secure. On today's platform, we have yet another panel of speakers, but we are going to start with the lady herself, the ultimate boss lady. We're going to be speaking to Dr. Roo. We have a few questions for her, just so we know what it is that she wants to achieve with this boss babe. Hey, Dr. Roo, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Miss Becky. Thank you for asking. How are you?
It's so awesome to have you, Doc. Awesome, awesome. So tell us, we've got the second Boss Babe Summit up and running. What is your mood right now?
I'm excited. I'm inspired. I'm motivated. I'm encouraged. That's the mood over here.
Well, so Doc, a lot of us follow you on Facebook, and we've seen your posts and everything, and we noticed a shift happened on your page and the mannerism in which you were posting, and we subconsciously shifted with you. What happened? Talk us through that.
God happened. Growth happened. And lots of evolving happened from the inside out. I've been big on saying that you cannot give what you don't have. So I started sharing from somewhere that was from a very deep place that was in my soul, and I wanted to share that with the next person. And sometimes I'll actually just share information or inspiring messages that I was hearing that I needed to motivate Rutendo, that I needed to inspire Rutendo. And I realized that as I motivated myself, I was actually motivating and inspiring many other women and men as well. So I would like to say that I guess it was an inside work that I had no control over. And one of the things that I did when I started the whole boss babe movement, I really committed it to God and said, God, my only hope is to be a vessel so that I can be an extension of his hand here on earth. So if I was going to be an extension of God's hand on earth, in the marketplace, in the community, I had to do it his way. I had to listen to him. I had to move with him. I had to roll with him. So that's exactly what happened. And so being conscious of that made me realize that I couldn't just offer what Tritendo could offer in the flesh, and I couldn't offer what Tritendo could offer from her own expertise or what Tritendo could offer from her own network. It needed to be something that came from deep within. And this is why I've been speaking the same message to the women that no matter what you do, you need to breathe out, you need to exude, you need to show, you need to you need to serve from a place that is working for you from the inside out. So that's what this whole Boss Babe initiative has evolved into, where we are saying wholeness actually starts from within. No matter where you are, it has to be an inside work, and it starts there, and you bring out everything that is clean here. Because if you don't have clean stuff here, you're actually just going to breastfeed bitterness, you're going to breastfeed anger, you're going to breastfeed so many other ills in the society that people don't need. So how are we going to grow the communities if we're going to have so much negativity? So I guess that's just what happened, and evolving happened, and we're here now.
All right, Doc. So as we're closing it off, this is super exciting. I cannot wait to hear what the other speakers have to say on today's platform. So there's someone who's watching and they are not exposed to the Boss Babe Summit. What is it that you can tell them about the Boss Babe Summit?
It's not your ordinary women empowerment platform. Neither is it your ordinary women empowerment network. It's a home, it's a village, it's a hub, It's a place where women become whole from the inside out and exude that in their homes, exude that in their communities, exude that in their boardrooms, and also show that even more in their daily lives. So I pray every single day when I serve this vision that I want to wake up to a day where we are okay with being great on camera and also great when the lights are off. And that's what this whole movement is all about: wholeness, empowerment, inspiration, and of course, getting things done everywhere else, including the boardroom.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I know the gentlemen are sneakily watching this. That was Dr. Rue, the host of the Boss Babe Summit. And we are already in our second edition. Now, if you want to learn more from Dr. Rue, you can find her on Facebook. You can find the information will be available on the screen. You will just see it popping up here and there, or right after the end of this broadcast, information will be given. If you haven't encountered Dr. Rue, you need to encounter her. Make it a mandate that the year should not end until you have been coached by Dr. Rue. Moving on to our next speaker for today, let's give it up for Lee Majgara as she gives us a talk on how to behave in the presence of power.
First of all, I want to thank Dr. Rue. Thank you so much for awarding me this opportunity to speak to every boss babe who's tuning in from around the world. Congratulations on your second edition of the Boss Babe Summit. My name is Lee Majgara, aka Hollywood Lee, your style consultant, your sunglass designer, your fashion blogger, your mommy, your everything. So my topic today is so exciting. It's spicy. I'm here to talk to you guys about how to behave in the presence of power. Now, a lot of people don't really know how to behave. And hey, not everybody has to go to school to learn how to do international relations or how to do protocol. So I'm here to just give you a few tips, starting with what you should wear. So first of all, you need to make sure that you look simple, that you don't steal the limelight and now everybody's looking at you and not focusing on the person of power, right? Let's say you're meeting the president of Zimbabwe. Are you going to show up looking Hollywood, or are you going to show up looking nice and simple? So you need to choose a very nice, simple outfit that says, I am here, I respect the occasion, but don't steal the show. It's not that kind of party. Then for the gents, you can do maybe a simple shirt, a nice pair of pants, and make sure that you have a watch and that you look very presentable, because also how you look determines how much respect you're giving to the person who's hosting you. And then for the ladies, make sure that you wear something that is nice, classy, you know, something that you would wear at a court. For example, if you're going to a courtroom in Zimbabwe, you need to make sure that you wear something that's reserved. You don't have to show out a lot of skin. So make sure that you don't wear something too short. By the time you sit down and cross your legs, everybody shouldn't see your groceries. So make sure that your length is on midi length, you know, nice enough to manage when you sit down. And make sure that it doesn't distract the men in the room. Then, the second thing I want to talk about is being humble. You have to be humble in the presence of power. You don't want to act like you're the one with everything. You know what I mean? You might need something from this person, right? So you need to make sure that your body language is exuding humbleness. And if you don't know how to be humble, pretend to be humble. I don't know what you need to do, but you need to make sure that when you're in the presence of power, that you're humble, okay? And then thirdly, how you greet the person. So it's very important that you study the person beforehand, you know, find out what they like, find out their cultures, find out their values, right? So for example, if they reach out for a handshake, make sure that you give them a firm handshake and eye contact. Very strong eye contact says you're paying attention, that you're interested in them. And make sure that you empty yourself and that you're ready to take on what they're saying. Because most of the time, we listen so that we can respond, not that we understand. So make sure that when you're in the presence of power, when they speak to you, that you are listening and you're taking in everything that they're saying, right? So make sure that, you know, you're not loud, you're not over talking, you're not cutting them off when they speak, but you're actually taking your time to listen. And then when you're awarded the opportunity to say something back or to respond, that's when you talk. Just don't go forward, don't go, you know, don't be over talking, and making sure that whatever they need to say to you, that they say it and that they finish, right? And then another thing, if you are in a setting maybe where you are getting food or you're sitting down with them on a table and you're breaking bread together, make sure that you follow their lead. Don't eat before they do, okay? Make sure that at least the basics of you know, making sure that you wait for them to take the first bite and then you take your first bite. Don't be going on about, no, I don't want the starter, I don't want the dessert. If they order a starter, order a starter. If they order a main course, then order a main course. If they order a dessert, then order a dessert. And then find out the basic rules, you know, like how you should dine. When you're done, how do you put the fork and the knife down? All that stuff, it's very, very important. Pay attention to detail. If you're not sure, if you're not trained, just go by what you're seeing. Follow their lead and look at them and see what they are doing. Then you follow after them, right? And then lastly, it's very important that at the beginning, you know how they, because you know, like there are different types of people, right, in power. Let's say you're meeting someone from India. I used to work for Tata, a company that is owned by Indians, and it's all over the world. They do vehicles, commercial vehicles. They also own Range Rover and Jaguar. Now in India, if you're having a visitor who's coming into the country, you must make sure that you have a bouquet of flowers. That's how you greet them. So, for example, if you're meeting someone from Japan, maybe it's the president of Japan, you need to have something, a gift. You need to know what makes them happy and what makes them feel welcome. So you need to study all these things beforehand so that by the time when you meet them, you already have all these things ready. Like I used to do with my Indian bosses, I used to make sure that I always have a bouquet of flowers ready, whether it's a male, female, whether it's old, young, whatever. Indians feel welcomed when you have a bouquet of flowers in your hand, okay? And then the very, very last thing, make sure that when you're asked something, that you say something that is straight to the point. Don't go round and round in circles. If you're asked, for example, I mean, if you're in the presence of power and then you're asked, what do you want? Don't go on and talk about, oh, my family needs a house, we need title deeds, I need a car, I'm struggling. Don't tell them the story of your life. At least be wise enough to know the one thing that can help you and also can elevate you. Because I'm sure when you're in the presence of power, you have been awarded an opportunity to get something back from them, right? So after everything that they say, what you do is you feed off the direction of the conversation. If it's a business conversation, then you talk about maybe that one business idea that you've always had that you need help with, right? So don't just run into financial problems. Talk about your idea, because sometimes not only money can get you to start a business, but your passion can get you there. So you need to talk about that one thing that you know that if you say it and if you say it right, you can get the attention of the person. So say it right, get straight to the point, don't go round and round in circles, don't talk about the story of your life. Just share that one thing. I learned something when I was working with the Indians, that if you're asked what you want, you must make sure that you are coming from a place of wisdom. One time I was asked that question and I thought to myself, wow, am I going to start saying, oh, my parents need a house to stay, my brother needs employment, can you please take me to India with you? Maybe this country isn't for me. I mean, guys, I had a lot of things running through my mind. But you know what I said? I said, I would like the organization to teach me how to grow in business. And they were like, wow, we'll do what we can. And then I was offered a lot of opportunities in school to study these things for free and even online. We even had a Harvard school online, and we had other universities. So it was great because I learned that, you don't always have to rush and talk about your problems. You can always say that one thing that you know will elevate you to the next stage of your life. So guys, that's it for me. Those were my experiences, and these are the things that I would give you tips for if you were me, if you were Hollywood Lee, okay? This is not from a book. I didn't read it anywhere, but these are things that I've learned through my own life experiences. So I hope that I've helped out somebody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until the next summit. Bye, girl.
Greetings to all the Boss Babes, and thank you so much for joining us here at the Boss Babe Summit. My name is Annabelle Kakaka, and I'm so excited to come through and to speak to you today, and any gentlemen who are brave enough to join us as well today. Today I'm speaking about resilience. Resilience is certainly something that has been defined as a trait that women always possess. And the interesting thing is that we have been handed down a legacy of resilience. A legacy of women who are able to deal with hard situations, a legacy of women who are able to stand up for the family no matter what. And another interesting aspect of this is that it has caused this generation to want to shy away from that legacy. We see many of us choosing to live lives that are much smaller and much simpler than possibly we could have. And I asked myself, why is this? What is this reason why we seem to be shying away from the resilience that we have always been defined by? And so I started to think. And I thought of what are the character portraits that have defined resilience to this generation. Now, if you're in my age range, which is in the mid-30s, then you'll know of the hip-hop days of the 90s, which praised the ride-or-die woman. Now, this was the woman who could hide your drug stash as soon as the police walked in the room. She could take a bullet for you. She could go to jail for you. She would do whatever was necessary to protect her man. She was loyal to a fault, loyal to the extent of her own detriment. And when we now look at that, we start to think, what was really being praised in that aspect? Was it her doing things for herself, or was it her doing things that benefited someone else who seemed to not really appreciate all that she did to be this ride or die? And then, our generation now that is starting to think a bit deeper about these things, we start to think, no, resilience, not for me. And then so let's look at another character portrait that often defines resilience. We've got the adapter. The adapter is able to endure extreme hardship. She's the woman who was told all these stories of what life would become. Let's get together, be my wife, be my woman, this is what life is going to look like. And then life turns out nothing like what she was expecting. Nothing like the promises that were made. And she's expected to adapt. So if she had been promised, the comfortable life, holidays here and there, nothing too crazy. But life turns out to be more of, having to be in the fields more often than not. The man being in the city and she's in the country, and he'll come when he comes and she'll see him when she sees him. And we look at this and we say, I'm not for it. I'm not for adapting to hardship. I'm not for hardship defining my life. No resilience for me. And then we look at the poser. Now, this is another one that we see very often in the stories that are spoken, especially about African women. Now, the poser is dying inside. She's staying for the children, she's staying for the family name, she's staying for what the community is going to say, and she puts out the best brand. Oh yes, you see her where you see her. She's always looking smart, she's always smiling, but she's the only one who knows what the situation really is where she's coming from. In my culture, we have a saying that says, "Chakafukita Zimba Matenga," that the roofs cover houses, and therefore you can't see through the roof and you will never know what's really going on in there. And while this legacy is an amazing thing, and just to put it out there, none of these are my lived experiences for those who are going to start speculating, but there are things that have defined African women, black women very much, and women overall. When we think of women, and we always define women as having this amazing trait of being resilient, of being able to stick with whatever's happening, with being able to deal with whatever life throws at them. And so I'm trying to think, how can we bring balance to this? As our theme for today is She Evolved. How do we bring an evolution to this aspect of resilience that we have learned about through our lives, that we have seen, that we have read about, that we have seen on TV? And yes, many of us may have never lived these specific things, but there's a story that's been told that is somewhere in the back of your mind that kind of causes you to ask yourself, is this a trait that I want to have? And so we then have a bit of a topsy-turvy when we look at many women of today. We've got those who've decided that my place is to do the best for the people around me. You know, to be like the ride or die, to be like the one who's always covering the rest of the family. That I am supposed to deal with whatever is thrown at me, and it doesn't serve me, it's always serving others. I'm not happy, but that's what being a resilient woman is. And then we have those who've decided to completely shy away. And they've said, you know what, I'm going to keep my life simple, I'm going to keep my life small. I'm not for striving, I'm not for going for more, I'm not for dealing with the hard situations, because I've seen these stories told and I don't want that to be my story. So how do we now take this, which is an amazing trait, a brilliant trait, and cause it to evolve for our generation and set a better foundation for the generation that is to come? So this is what I was thinking about when I was preparing for Boss Babes, She Evolved. And here's what I'm thinking. And maybe this can start a discussion. It's something that we can start to think about. As women, it's something we can start to think about regarding our own lives. How can we be deliberate about changing how we define resilient women? To change it into something that builds, to change it into something that causes us to live the lives and to live the destinies that surely God has set for 50%, if not more, of the population. That surely if the nations that we all represent are going to be the best that they can be, we need women to be stepping up. We need women to be resilient in difficult situations, but not like this. Not in ways that cause them to always be on the back foot. Not in ways that cause them to always be giving and receiving very little. So here are my thoughts. I'll look back at the personas that we discussed. Let's look at Miss Ride or Die. You know, like we said, the one who's fiercely loyal. She is someone who loves actively. Her love is active. It's not passive. It's not, I'll leave you to deal with your situations. It's active. It's, I'm there. And whatever you're dealing with, I'm there and I'm dealing with it with you. Could these traits not be amazing traits to describe a leader of a business, a leader of a nation? How would you feel if when describing the people who lead your nation, they were described as being loyal, that they're people who are willing to fight for those who follow them, that there are people who are loyal even to a fault, to the extent that whether it's standing up to authorities, whether it's standing up for situations that are unfair regarding their subjects or their followers or the people who they are leading, that these are people who put the others first, no matter what. Clearly it shows us that this aspect of resilience that has been taught to us has been preparing us for the kind of leadership that the world needs right now. The kind of leaders who put others first, the kind of leaders who make sure that even if I have to cover you, even if I have to take the fall for you, I will take it because we're going somewhere and we're going there together. Wouldn't that be an amazing foundation to leave for the young girls who are coming behind us? That this is what leadership looks like. It looks like someone who's going to take your hand, who's going to stare in the face of danger with you, and who's going to go with you. Now that's the kind of resilience that I can get behind. Now let's look at the adapter. We spoke about the adapter being someone who's able to endure extreme hardships. And I don't think what she does is a bad thing. The challenge is that she's enduring hardship without strategy. Now let's look at it another way. In business, in doing anything new, in starting a new career, in doing hard things, it's a very necessary thing that we as women often shy away from, of figuring out a new industry, of figuring out something that is very unfamiliar, figuring out something that, you know, you don't usually see women in this space. Do I want to be the only one there? What if the men are not welcoming? What if it's difficult? What if I don't feel like I can be myself? But part of doing anything new is being willing to do things that are hard. But where did the adapter miss it? She lacked the strategy. Now she was willing to stay and live through hardships with no end in sight. But we are saying, how about we take that aspect that many of us have seen and we figure out how to make it evolve into not just enduring hardship, but enduring hardship with a strategy. Enduring hardship because you know that once I get through the embarrassing part of not really knowing what I'm doing, once I get through the difficulties, once I get through and I figure it out and I work the long nights, I can monetize this. I can get to a place of mastery, because mastery is all about enduring hardship first. So that's what we need to start to be able to do, to figure out that legacy that many of us have seen of being able to adapt. Can we take it? Can we improve on it? Can we add strategy to it? And can we be women who are willing to do hard things, Can we be women who are willing to figure out the things that are difficult to figure out, and therefore build ourselves and get to places that are so much bigger than what so many of us have accepted? And who's our last one? Our poser. The poser who's always quick to cover up the shortcomings of those around her. Always building the family brand with a smile on her face. Well, here I see a woman who's able to tell the right stories. I see a woman who's able to build a picture, who's able to create something that looks inspiring from the outside. Because we all know in these scenarios, we've seen them on TV and in various situations, that this is always the family that everyone aspires to be like, yet they don't actually know the detail. So how about we take this aspect and, like we said, we cause it to evolve to being people who, yes, are able to build beautiful brands on the outside, but are also able to have those fierce conversations, who are able to sit people down and say, this is not working, how are we going to make it work? Who are able to work through things, whether it's the therapy, whether it's the helping the family grow spiritually, and not just families, even in business, able to sit down with our teams and say, guys, this is not working, things are not going well, but we're going to fix this. We're going to stop just putting out a name and a face that makes us look good, and we're going to build something good. We're going to go from good and looking good to actually being great. Can you imagine women who are leading their families this way, who are leading their businesses this way, who are taking others with them and saying, guys, yes, we look amazing out there, but we are actually going to build something that is amazing. I want each and every one of us to be our best. I want us to work together well. Instead of just posing and putting out the image, we're actually women who are willing to build great things. So, just to bring it all to a close, resilience is an amazing gift. It's a gift that I believe each and every one of us has been given. I don't think it's something that is coincidental, that oftentimes women are described and women are often in places when things are difficult and they're able to figure things out, they're able to bring people back together, they're able to build others around them. And so I'm challenging all of us not to shy away from this gift that we have been given, that many of us, I think, have running through our DNA. But there's somebody who's around you. There's a cousin, there's a niece, there's a neighbor who's looking at you, who's looking at your life. And let's show them those lives that are resilient, of women who are able to do hard things, of women who are able to blaze trails, and women who are able to put in foundations that are going to build much better nations and a much better world than we are experiencing right now. So where would you place yourself? Do you see yourself as the ride or die, the fiercely loyal woman who loves aggressively each and every day? Do you see yourself as the adapter, the one who's able to deal with situations as they come, who's able to adapt to the environment and whatever it throws at her? Or do you see yourself as the poser, the one who builds amazing brands, who creates things that others aspire to and want to join and be like? Whichever of those you find yourself relating to, I'm encouraging you to apply these amazing principles to your life, to your family, to your business, to your career, to whatever it is that you're building, to build on your resilience. Here at the Boss Babe Summit, we're all about building ourselves as women, as taking these amazing traits that we have and all the other things that you're going to learn today and tomorrow, and just making them into something that's going to make this nation and this world a much greater place. So once again, my name is Annabelle Gakaka, and I thank you so much for your time, and I'm so excited for the rest of the summit, and I hope you'll stay with us.
A huge thanks to every woman that's watching tonight. Well done for being intentional with your own journey as an entrepreneur, as a woman in career, as a woman who is tackling whatever assignment is in your hands in this season. And well done for connecting to these sessions. I just want to, at this point, celebrate the women that came before me and paved the way for me up until this time. And I am the last speaker of the night before our keynote speaker, so I am deeply honored by that. And my job is very simple. It is to just tantalize your palates before the main course. So my job is incredibly simple. And I would like to encapsulate what we're going to be talking about in the next 10 to 15 minutes in a story. So the year is 2021. The location is the tip of Africa, the southernmost part of the continent, Cape Town. We find a woman in her early 30s, and she is spending the first few months of the year as a newly married woman. I wanted to pick a story that many of us would relate to as women. You could be a businesswoman, you could be an entrepreneur, you could be a mother, you could be a teacher, you could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor watching. I'm sure you've been in love before, or you are currently in love, or maybe you no longer want to hear about love. But all of us have used our hearts at some point in time to enter through this transition where the heart is initially indifferent, but evolves and falls in love with someone else. It's such a fascinating journey. It's such an exciting journey. And a lot of us have experienced so many different mind-shifting, emotional shifting, heart-shifting experiences in the experience called love. By 30, a woman already, in many instances, knows herself, knows her purpose, has established herself in a career, has probably acquired a few assets, and has really built a life around herself. So much so that when someone else enters into that environment, there is a lot of evolving that needs to take place. A lot of shifting, a lot of compromise, a lot of adapting, a lot of change in systems, a lot of change in strategies, a lot of mental shifts. So today, this woman in this particular story is standing in front of you, and she would like to share with you 6 power words that she would like you to consider to incorporate in your own evolving journey. The first power word that I want you to catch today is acknowledgement. I want you to just touch your heart and say, I acknowledge. What does acknowledgement look like? Acknowledgement is a mental recognition of the fact that we are no longer in the same world that we used to live in. The world has evolved, and it is placing a demand upon us to evolve with it. I've heard quite a few people say, when we get back to the old normal, I would like to propose tonight that there is no such thing as getting back to the old normal. The world has changed, and it has changed forever. Forward we move on. And so acknowledgement is about awareness. It's about being cognizant of the fact that we are in a completely new environment altogether. We are in a completely new season altogether, and it is demanding us to be completely new people altogether. As a businesswoman, what mental shifts have you been really intentionally working towards attaining to shift your thinking from the businesswoman that you were last year to the businesswoman that you are right now? With a change in trends, change in markets, there is an absolute shift in what the world is now demanding. Is your product line still needed, or it has become obsolete? As a career woman, is your career still needed? Is it needed in the community? Is it needed in our world now? Or you have to get an additional course, or you have to pivot and start looking for new ways to do what you have always been doing. For the career woman, with all these retrenchments, with all these salary cuts, with people going home and people not coming back, what have you done to maximize on the opportunities that are currently available? But most importantly, what have you done to remain relevant in your industry? So it's about acknowledging, becoming aware of the fact that we are no longer in the same world that we were in. So in my own personal journey, there's had to be constant multiple acknowledgements of the fact that I am no longer a single woman. I am no longer living alone. I am no longer making decisions on my own. There is now a partner on this journey called life. And that has to be an intentional mental shift to acknowledge that I'm no longer in my season, the season I was last year. The second power word that I want you to catch on to is awareness. Awareness is becoming open and becoming aware of the habits, of the goals, of the routines that you were practicing last year before the world changed, that your business or maybe even your relationships that you are still currently practicing. Outdated, obsolete habits and routines that are yielding you the exact same results that you were yielding last year, but yet those results no longer are of value to this new world. This is an exciting time for business women to really start re-looking their systems, really start re-looking their policies, start re-looking your employees, their qualifications, start re-looking what new expertise are needed in your business, start re-looking your product line. What is it that you're currently selling and offering to the world? Does the world still need it? Or there is need for diversification. There is need for you to take your product and to really better it for the new world. Awareness is about really looking deep within into those systems and those habits and those routines and asking yourself, is this going to yield what I desire? Is this going to give my business that bottom line? Even in relationships, is this going to give me a healthy, nourishing, fulfilling relationship? I personally had to be aware that I was no longer a single woman. There is stuff that I used to do last year. I mean, there is habits, there is routines that I used to do last year. One of the things that I used to really thrive at was winging it when it came to just the food I ate. I was the queen of takeouts. Thank you very much. Give me my crown. I will gladly take it. I was the queen of winging it. I mean, I would just get into my home and I would cook anything that came to my mind. But as I'm entering into this new season where there is an intentional evolving that's taking place, I have to meal prep. I have to meal plan. I have to think about what I'm going to be cooking because I'm no longer living alone. And who's going to build a family of take out food? I can see someone in the comment section already saying, I can, if you dare me. But families are built on intentionality. And so it's about awareness. Are you aware of those habits that used to yield you results but are no longer yielding you any results in this new evolved world? The third power word is attitude. Attitude is a make and a break. In fact, it is said that many owners of business these days consider less the qualifications and the certificates, but they really want to tap into the attitude when you're looking for a job in their company. Because you can give people more qualifications by up-leveling their skills, sending them to courses, but you can't really give someone a good attitude. So attitude is about the emotions, the behaviors that are connected to you as you are in this journey, as you are on this evolving journey. How is your attitude? Now remember, I told you I was the queen of takeout. At this point in my journey, part of what I'm wanting to do is to really love cooking. I genuinely have challenged myself and I genuinely have told myself that this year I am going to learn how to cook and I'm going to become a very good cook at that matter. And so I wish some of you would enter into my kitchen while I'm cooking. I've got my favorite music on. I've got my playlist playing. I'm wearing my comfortable little, shoes. I'm dancing. I'm affirming myself. I am telling myself I am the Jamie Oliver of my home. I am cooking and I am creating, architecting an environment that allows me and connects me to a healthy and a good attitude towards cooking. And I must say, it's only been a couple of months, but I have actually started to see and to notice and observe myself loving cooking, loving coming to prepare a meal for myself and my husband. Why? Because there was an intentionality in actually working on my attitude. So as a business owner, as a woman who is in corporate, as a person that has an assignment in their hands, I don't know what exactly it is that you do. But how have you been really approaching this evolved world? Have you evolved right with it? Have you evolved your attitude with it? Have you looked at the way that you have been navigating around the world since it started to change and observing how you're responding to it? Are you full of complaints? Are you full of bickering? Are you full of murmuring? Are your affirmations full of negativity? Have you been speaking ill of your business? Have you been speaking that which you see and not necessarily that which you want to see? You've got to fix your attitude in the journey. You've got to fix your attitude as you evolve. The fourth power word is adapt. Ladies, we have to learn to be agile. We have to learn to quickly move with times. The world is not still. The world is moving. The world is swiftly changing, and we've got to learn to change with it. Listen, I have never seen a person that is easy at changing as a woman. Many instances, men find it difficult to change. It could be in relationships. It could be in the business world. Sadly so. It takes a long time for men to really conceptualize the need for change. And in many instances, they'll change when no one else around them changes. But women, we have this natural ability, natural grace, just this natural capacity to become multiple people in the same environment. We can multitask. We can wear so many different hats at the same season. And I want you to ask yourself, have you been tapping into that power, that superpower that you have as a woman, the ability to adapt quickly to circumstances, to seasons, to situations? You ought to tap into that ability to adapt in your business. Quickly learn what is needed. If it is a change in product line, quickly change. If it is a need for you to get more knowledge about your business, quickly get an e-course. Quickly go to university. Quickly get an online diploma. Do something that is definitely going to aid you on this journey of evolving, as we are also in this evolving world. Adapt quickly and do not waste any time. Ask yourself, how can I make my product relevant? Observe the market, do your market research, look around, network. Ask yourself, how can I survive this new world, and really position yourself in such a way that you become successful in this new world. While others are trying to catch up, I am seeing the boss babe woman already along the way. I am seeing the boss babe woman elevated. I'm seeing the boss babe woman being agile. I'm seeing the boss babe woman grabbing opportunities. I'm seeing the boss babe woman getting promoted in the season where the world is evolving. I'm seeing the boss babe woman fully manifesting the agility and the ability to adapt that is lying dormant in the inside of her. I'm seeing you prosper and thrive in your line of business. The fifth power word, as we're about to finish, is a word that a lot of people think is very high in the air and lofty and spooky, but I find it very natural and common, and that is anointing. What is your anointing set? What is your skill set? What is that thing that you have been sent on assignment on earth, graced with? That natural ability that you already have. You see, a lot of us are walking with an imposter syndrome when we enter into big rooms, when we sit at those meetings, when we enter into those boardrooms, when we go to that bank looking for a loan. We say, woe me, I'm a female. Woe me, I'm a small business owner. Woe me, I didn't go to school for this thing, so maybe I'm not fully qualified. We're just coming against that woe me thing. We come against it right now, and we just really trusting that in this season that you're going to learn to center yourself and learn to stand in your power. You see, when there is an opportunity that has been opened for you, when a room has been opened for you, when a door has been opened for you, you ought to believe in yourself and your capacity so much that a door wouldn't have allowed itself to open had you not had that capacity, the capabilities, the skill sets, the anointing sets that are necessary for that room. And so I don't know what it is that you're faced with right in front of you, something that you probably think is too big for you, something that you probably think is not in your league, but I am standing with you in the season of evolving, and I'm just hoping that you're going to evolve in such a way where you are able to stand and acknowledge the anointing that is upon your life, the skill set that is upon your life, the strategies that are upon your life, the graces that are upon your life, all these unique abilities that have been packaged in you, where when you enter into an environment, they set you apart, they distinguish you. You ought to be able to stand firmly and courageously and boldly in your identity as a boss babe and say, I am here because I deserve to be here. This opportunity is in front of me because I deserve it. And all those people surrounding me right now, they might be above me, but I deserve to be here. This room has been opened up for me. This door has been opened up for me because I deserve to be standing on this platform. I just want women this year, the boss babe woman, to say, I am evolving. I am evolving in the way that I show up in rooms. I am evolving in the way that I show up in my relationships. I am evolving in the way that I show up in business, in the way that I show up even in my friendships. I am evolving. I am just standing in what God had already made me. That which I was afraid to accept, that which I was afraid to acknowledge, I am standing firmly in it. And lastly, the last power word is apologize. Learn to apologize. Apologize to yourself sometimes for letting yourself down, because guess what? You're not always going to get it right. And let me tell you something. The world does not expect perfection from you. Your sisters are not expecting perfection from you. The people in your company are not expecting perfection from you. They're expecting effort. They're expecting you to try your best and to do your best. So guess what? There are times when you're not going to be 100%. There are times when you're not going to show up as the best version of yourself. There are times when you will lose a deal. There are times when a product line in your business closes. There are times when you have to close business altogether and go back to the drawing board and think through what can work again. All those times, I want you to learn to apologize to yourself. I want you to learn to say, you know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry this didn't work out, but you're going to be fine. You're going to be okay, right? We ought to be kind to ourselves. We ought to be compassionate with ourselves. And I know right now that I'm speaking to boss babes. We can be highly competitive. We can be women that enter into industry and really take and dominate industries. But we can also be extremely hard on ourselves. But this year, this 2021, the boss babe woman is not only going to acknowledge, she's going to be aware, she is going to be agile, she's going to adapt, she is going to stand in her anointing, and she's going to learn to apologize to herself sometimes, because guess what? Perfection does not exist. Perfection does not exist. You are here to try your best, and your best, boss babe, is enough. And I am standing with you that as you evolve, that you will become a city that is built upon a hill that cannot be hidden. Many multiple boss babes must become millionaires in 2021. Many multiple boss babes must receive tenders in 2021. Many multiple boss babes women must start new businesses this 2021. Multiple boss babe women must be promoted this 2021. The boss babe woman is evolving, and she is ready to take on the world.
welcome to Boss Babe Session 2. I'm extremely pleased that you decided to invite me again for the second edition. I hope that that is because I did say something that resonated with your spirit in the last session that we had. Extremely pleased, actually, that we are having this session in March, right, which is where we are celebrating Women's Month. I choose to challenge. I hope you've been challenged, or you are going to be challenged by what you're going to hear throughout this session. But I just wanted to take just a bit of a moment to reflect on some incredible progresses that have been made by women worldwide, everywhere. From the election of Okoja Iweala as the first leader of the World Trade Organization, to the elevation of Dr. Kamala Harris in the US as the first VP of one of the most powerful nations in the world. And within my banking sector as well, we also had an elevation of Jane, who took up the role of CEO of Citibank, one of the largest firms on Wall Street. And of course, even closer to home, there are a lot of other women who have made significant progress in the corporate space. Precious Nyika, elevated to CEO of Lafarge, again, one of the biggest corporates worldwide operating in Zimbabwe. My dear friend Sibongile, Dr. Sibongile Moyo, who was also elevated to the MD of Nedbank in Zimbabwe. Of course, there are many, many other examples that you know operating in this sector. My mentor and my favorite, Dr. Simbi Lukulo, Dr. Simbi Divine Ndlukula, who is the MD of Sekiriko, and many, many, many other people who are shaking the boundaries and, as we call it, shaking the ground ceiling. But as we come back to our Boss Babe Summit, I just wanted to share a couple of my thoughts as we evolve. We're talking about evolution. We are talking about getting better. And every morning that I wake up, I have a fierce determination to do better today than I did yesterday. You are not the same today as you were yesterday, and you will never be the same tomorrow as you were yesterday. You are getting fatter. You are getting bigger. I'm getting slimmer. You are not going to see today again. You are probably never ever going to be in the same position and same situation that you are in. So why should your mind remain the same? Why should your thought process remain the same? Why should your wealth remain the same? Why should your elevation, your thought process, and everything that you stand for remain the same? All of us as human beings are called to be better than we were yesterday. All of us as human beings are called to progress. That's what we're called for. What are we living for if we're not getting better by our children, by our pastors, by the things that we represent, by the clothes we wear? If I'm wearing the same suit that I was wearing last year, I'm not progressing. If I'm doing exactly the same thing that I did in the previous year, I'm not progressing. So I'm just going to share with you just about 5 of my thoughts on what you need to do in your journey of evolution. What is it that we need to do as human beings, not only as women, but as women, as men, as children, in all the areas that we represent? What is it that we should do? What is it that matters to be? I speak to you not necessarily because I know best, as those who are probably going to come before me, I am sure are more eloquent, are probably a lot more experienced in being a woman. But I know that I'm experienced in my little area based on the experiences that I've encountered. So the first thing that I wanted to drop to you in that in whatever we do as human beings, in our journey of evolution as women, and in our journey of taking on the throne, as we say, is that we need to make sure that our dreams are bigger and that they are scaring us almost every moment that we are thinking about them. I know that the circumstances and the environment in which we live in is extremely hard. Yes, there is corona, there is lockdown. Yes, there is the challenge of the Zim dollar. Some of you, of course, want to pack your bags and go somewhere else because the situation and the environment is so daunting. But what do we do when we know that there are extreme challenges, extreme burdens that we face, and in many instances, we want to do better? But I hear this many, many times. What do I do, Doc? Because there are many things that are weighing me down, and there are many things that are stopping me from going on to the next level. What I just wanted to leave with you is that the first thing that I think that we limit ourselves is that the size of our dreams are smaller than what we want to achieve. Never, ever, ever reduce or limit your dreams to the size of your reality, because your reality can be daunting. Always make sure that you are elevating your conviction to match with your destiny. because it is our destiny that should determine and decide where we are going. If you are reducing your thought process, if you are reducing your dreams because the situation is hard, your output is also going to be mediocre. Always make sure that in your thought process, you are not compromising who you are, what you want to become, and where you want to go. So your dreams are more important, and make sure that in whatever you're doing, you are thinking bigger than yourself, and that you are thinking in your evolution in the places the places you want to go in your mind, because it's about your mind. It's about the places you want to go into in your mind. If you want to get there, make sure that your dream is something that really, really scares you. The second thing that I wanted to drop with you is that whilst you are dreaming, the most important thing is that you act. Good things happen to those who act. And in many instances, you need to remember always, always, always that as you have had, that faith moves mountains, right? In some instances as well, the doubts that we create in our minds is the things that can also create many, many mountains for us not to achieve the things that we would like to achieve. So always ensure that in the things that you are doing, you are acting, and in the things that you're doing, you're getting off your seat. You are doing something about your thought process, about where you want to go, about your dreams, about the things that you want to achieve. For you to evolve, you need to be a person of action and not necessarily a person of words. You need to lead with your action and not necessarily with the things that you say. Because after all is said and done, a lot of things are going to be left undone. Always make sure that you are a person of action, a person who is driven by the doing something and not necessarily by saying something. Number three, I know that it's very, very hard for us to think of somebody else when we are in our beast mode, when we want to achieve more, when we want to go to the next level. Somebody does not need to fail for you to succeed. Wherever we are going, whatever we are doing, let us uplift each other. Let's make sure that we are succeeding together. And I think that is an area or what I call a symptomatic of a problematic state, in that we want to trample on each other. We want to make sure that somebody fails. We want to make sure that we are cutting corners. You know, those inbox for prizes kind of entrepreneurs, where you are buying something, you want to rip off your colleague, your neighbor, because you believe that you deserve to get the 100% profit whilst not getting the 100% benefit of what you're selling. So somebody does not need to fail for you to succeed. Always lift up your sister. Always lift up your brother. Always ensure that you are going together, you're succeeding together, whether as a family, whether you are sisters, whether you are brothers, whether you are business people. Always, always, always ensure that you are lifting those that are probably at a point where you are not at. Always ensure that if you are entrepreneurs, you are supporting each other, that you are buying my cake, that you are buying the things that I do, my heels, that you are supporting me in the advertising business, and don't come to me and ask for freebies. Pay your way out just like you would pay your way if you were to buy an A-class service from any other business, from any other entrepreneur that you are doing business with. Number four, it's very important in our evolution that we are enjoying the journey. We forget that in many instances. The journey is something that is meant to be enjoyed. Trust the process. Don't be a destination junkie. Some of us are never satisfied with our reality, with what we have, because we are always chasing the next big thing. We are always chasing the next big man. We are always chasing the next hill, the next dress. We're chasing something, and we forget to enjoy where we are at present. So always ensure that whilst you're going through the process of evolution, you are also taking a moment to pause, to think through what you have done, enjoying those small victories, the things that you're doing today, because they count for the bigger picture. Because when you are acting and you're celebrating and you're winning today as you win tomorrow, that is what counts for you winning in the future. You might get to your destination and realize that this is not what you signed for. This is not what you wanted. This is perhaps not the evolution you are looking for. So ensure in many instances that what you're doing, what you're going through is something that is enjoyable for you, and that you are absolutely driven by the things that you are doing. Lastly, I just want to leave you with this thought, and that is sometimes we are exhausted and we exhaust ourselves by the people who surround us, because we are surrounded by people who are not people of action, but people of words, people interested a lot more in gossip, in frivolous conversations, in things that don't magnify our spirit, our souls, in things that do not take us to the next level. Always, again, always make sure that in your evolution, you are surrounding yourself with people who are going to build your confidence, who are going to build your action, and who are also going to build your evolution. Because it's you who matter. And because it is you who matter, ensure that you are not reducing yourself into a small mind. I'm sure you have heard the expression that small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, and that only big minds discuss events, action, things that we can do to make our country better. We don't make our country better by the jokes we circulate on WhatsApp. Yes, they are good. Yes, they refresh us. Yes, they actually give us the laugh that we look for after an extremely difficult day. But we only build ourselves, we only edify each other if we are building and discussing things that can change a nation, that can change your family, that can change you as a human being, and that can help you in your journey of evolution. Because all of us, in the things that we do, we are only better if we are building each other, if we are encouraging each other, if we are pulling each other so that we are better in the things that we do. So dream big, act big, and always make sure that you're helping your sister, you're helping somebody who is standing next to you. Always ensure that in the things that you do, you are edifying each other by the ways that you're speaking into each other, and that you are a person who is driven, who is passionate about changing their circumstances, their destiny, where you want to go. I want to leave you with this last thought. And I had it, and we did discuss this in the last session that we had, that a lot of times we kind of exhaust ourselves by the things that we do and how we express ourselves in the process of achievement, especially to all of you, because you are family. You are family, and you, I'm sure, are going to allow me to say this, that do not use your emotions when logic should suffice. Don't use your tears when you can use your brain. So whatever you do good by you. When done, please do good by others. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference, and thank you for having me again this year. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
My. Oh my goodness. I mean, who comes up with anything to say, especially after all these dynamic speakers have spoken? You know what? I'm just here for one simple thing, to show my gratitude on behalf of everybody who was watching yesterday and who was watching today, just to say thank you. Thank you so much to Dr. Lance. Thank you, Lady Sharon. Thank you, Annabelle. Thank you, Mabel. Thank you, Mrs. Mkurajija. Thank you, Hollywood Lee. My girl, Rutendo. Thank you so much, Melody. Thank you, Miss Becky, for being an amazing facilitator. Thank you, Amara. And thank you, Ruveneko. Thank you so much for being the gift that you are, not just in your respective areas of influence, but for being that gift that we needed for this second edition of the Boss Babe Summit. Words are not enough. Again, on behalf of everybody who was watching, thank you, Dr. Lance, for coming back again. I know you said you would not come back, but I would like to repeat one thing that you said that I know will remain with me, and I know with so many other people forever. Never limit the size of your dream to your environment. And that's what we're all about. That's what evolving is all about. I'll tell you something. The easiest thing was to not have the summit this year. True story. Why? Because we were so used to the normal, hey, let's have our summit in person where we hug each other, where we're in a nice venue and all of these things. But adapting to a whole summit where you still have to give people an experience from your heart, from your mind, from your soul, the way you envisioned it, I will tell you the truth, that wasn't the easiest thing for me and even for the team that was working tirelessly behind the scenes. Ladies and gentlemen, such is life. Life happens to all of us. Challenges come, distractions come, pain comes, hurt comes. The pandemic came, businesses are shut down, people lose their jobs, the economy goes down. But what do? Do you just stay in bed all day and not wake up and throw yourself a whole pity party with your friends? No, we don't do that. And this was my biggest lesson, even as we were planning this whole entire summit. That evolving is a must, even if it means you're going to limp. Limp, but evolve. Limp, but evolve. Again, limp, but evolve. Do not stay where you are. Because when you stay where you are, listening to your body, listening to everything that's not going on in your environment, guess what? Nothing is going to change for you. Nothing is going to change even in your community. Nothing is going to change even in your family. Nothing is going to change even in your business. So today, as we wrap up the second edition of the Boss Babe Summit, I challenge you to evolve. I challenge you to adapt. I challenge you to look deep in yourself and ask yourself this question. What do I need to change inside me so that I can bring it out, even in my world? What do I need to change about my work ethic? What do I need to change about the way I look, the way I present myself? What do I need to change where my mindset is concerned? What do I need to change where my habits are concerned? What do I need to change even where your environment is concerned? So I will say this again. Evolving is the only option and is the only choice that you have in a pandemic. In a personal pandemic, and in a national pandemic, and in a global pandemic. Even if it means you're going to limp. Limp, but evolve. Limp and evolve. Until next year, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being an amazing audience. A sweet audience, a dear audience. One thing I know for sure and that I will leave with you is that serving you is one of the greatest honors that I wake up to every single morning. And I know my team says the same when they think of you, when we talk about you, when we think of creative ways to serve you. We hope you've enjoyed this experience, and we hope it has been inspiring, motivating, and it has propelled you to think different even about your own life. So ladies and gentlemen, I hate to say goodbye, but this is not goodbye. I know we'll see you in the Boss Babe Conversations community because we've got so much stuff lined up for this year only. So until then, your girl Dr. is signing out.